brother Ahmed, I mean, this is not new news, but subhanAllah, you know what? It's still a very shocking, because we've almost started putting faces to the names and to the digits that we've been discussing for the last, couple of years. We've been talking about million, 500,000, million, and it's an abstract number. But when you start putting faces to those numbers, subhanAllah, you know what? It actually agitates you, right? So I was just looking at some of the pictures and the photos of 15-year-olds and 70-year-olds being amongst those that have been actually detained by the Chinese authorities in these camps. Absolutely disgusting. I mean, tell me what do you make of it, right? And just your thoughts on this revelation, latest revelation.
Assalamu alaikum, brother Hafiz. Jazakallah khairan for having me on. I've only got a few minutes with you, so I'm just going to jump straight into the scary deep end. The one thing that really comes through the Xinjiang police files is the language that's used to describe the Uyghur, and how we've seen this same language being used to describe certain Muslims in the UK as well. So when the Chinese ambassador in the US was contacted about, what do you make of this, they gave a very general kind of response. They said that Xinjiang related issues are in essence about countering violent terrorism, radicalization and separatism, not about human rights or religion. Now the thing is, we heard this in a report about Muslim groups like MPACUK, like Cage, not even a month ago. Policy Exchange, when they put out a report criticizing Muslims who criticized Present, they called us all Islamists. They said that we are guilty of committing thought crimes, and we're dangerous because what we're doing is we're enabling violent terrorism. It's the same thought that the Chinese authorities have as well.
It's the same language that's been used everywhere. I get that. It's an international agenda, whether it's Kashmir, whether it's the Uyghurs, whether it's in Burma. It's the same language. I get that, right? But specifically, let's just focus on the Uyghurs right now, right? And it brings, every so often we get another news article, another exposure or another revelation, right? And it just it brings back the circumstance and the reality of the suffering of these Muslims, of East Turkestan, right? And of course, I mean, let's give them credit. I mean, subhanAllah, not to say the Palestinian cause isn't one of the most important causes, but at least you get bit up, headlines on Palestine with the Uyghurs. It's really at the back end, isn't it? So I mean, what in particular has caught your attention from this latest revelation, right? And what changes? Does anything change at all now that we've got faces to these digits?
Yeah, so it's not just faces, it's also names, and people have also, relatives of some of these people have corroborated the evidence that, yeah, that's my relative, that's their name, that's their photo. So as you said before in your opening, it does humanize this situation. And what we have to realize is that, as the saying goes, but for the grace of God, there goes I. These are our Muslim brothers and sisters. And when it comes to our understanding of our religion, if we don't feel a twinge of anything, any kind of sadness, any kind of empathy with our brothers and sisters, we know that there's a flaw in our iman, in our faith, in our religion itself. So the reason that I mention, there's such a strong link, not just in terms of the language with what the Chinese and what the UK government have been saying, is because we have to realize there is an actual globalization of the Prevent agenda, of countering violent extremism and so on. It's literally in UN resolutions, and the reason why it's so important to point that out is so then your listeners, inshallah, I don't want to just leave them feeling angry and upset. I want them to realize that they have power in their hands. These decisions, these Chinese politicians, these UK politicians, your listeners have power in their hands, inshallah, to show these elites that we're not going to be silent. We're not going to let them just walk all over us with their elitist agenda to crush dissent. We have to show them wherever we can, whether it's at the ballot box, whether it's on the streets, we have to show them that our rights are ours and they are not going to be taken without a fight.